Hey guys, hi, and once again, welcome to my video. This video, I'm going to be talking about AWS Glue workflow. I'll cover essentially one or two lines of theory and then straight back into action. Let's get started. In AWS Glue, you can use workflow to create and visualize complex extract, transform, and load ETL activities involving multiple crawlers, jobs, and trigger. Each workflow manages the execution and monitoring of its job and crawler. As the workflow runs each component, it records execution, progress, and status. This provides you with an overview of a larger task and the details of each step. What do I mean by that? Well, let me explain you with a very simple diagram. So say I have some data in a folder, okay, and I'll show you a demo, right? I have that, right? So what I want to do is I want to run a Spark job that essentially reads the data from that, and I will compress this into a Parquet format and Parquet and snappy compression. Okay, so I want to do that, and then I want to run my glue crawler on that. So and then so that I can essentially run this via Athena, via standard SQL. So as you can see, there are steps involved, right? First, running the job, then crawler. So why can't I automate that? That is exactly what workflow allows you to do. So I'll show you everything in a demo. So remember, I'll also show you how to hook this up to on a schedule, your pipeline, right? So yeah. So let's click on workflow. I do not have a workflow. I'll click on add workflow. By the way, yeah. So let me click on custom workflow. I'll call this custom workflow demo, right? So over here, default run properties, I'll leave it to default. I'll put down 10 concurrency for now. Add workflow. At this point, my workflow is there. Now it becomes very easy. Now remember, you need to add a trigger. How would you trigger that, right? So I'll call custom we'll call it custom workflow trigger. I'll put it on demand. I'll click on that, and as you can see, now we have this yellow dot showing that, hey, I'm ready to trigger. So now what do you want to do? First thing I want to do is I want to call my glue job that is going to compress the files. So I'll call that. As you can see, very easy, right? Very intuitive. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to fire up a glue crawler for that. So I'm saying that, hey, fire a glue crawler. Then I'm gonna click on add. Now remember, this is gonna link to my crawler, right? So I wanna run my crawler so that it can essentially update the data catalog. Now, as you can see, my pipeline is ready. I can literally come here and start, come on. I can literally come here and start the pipeline, but if you want, you can also hook it up to an event bridge. How easy is that? So now what you're doing is every time, your pipeline is essentially gonna run over the folder, it's gonna compress that, then run the crawler. So now remember, glue job has bookmark, which means if 1, 2, 3 items has been processed and tomorrow 4 and 5 has been added, it will process only 4 and 5. It's gonna do incremental processing. It's not gonna reprocess the old data. So that's the beauty about that, okay? So I'm creating a rule here, very easy. I wanna put it on a schedule, so I can do that. I'm gonna put 12 hours, whatever, however you wanna fire up. And then here you can see I want option of glue workflow. I can select my custom workflow. Here it's asking me to select a role. I'll select an admin role that I had. Next, create role. So now my pipeline will run on a schedule, right? It will fire my glue workflow that's gonna run essentially my job, that's gonna compress the file, then it's gonna run my glue crawler. So I could do that, but for now, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna run it manually. So as you can see, my pipeline is currently running. So let's wait for this to succeed. Should be done in a couple of minutes, depending upon the amount of data that you have. So I'm doing it on my personal account, so hopefully it should be done in a couple of minutes. And remember, you can always monitor things. You can go to history, and it will show you the details here as well, right? So now, as you can see, it's running currently. So I can also go back to my job legacy. It's a very simple Spark job, nothing crazy. All you see is, if you see, it reads from the data lake and it compresses that. So it's doing a dynamic, write dynamic frame from option, right? And I'm doing it on S3. So nothing crazy, okay? So very, very easy there. So as you can see, automatically, I think it succeeded here. So we'll go to the legacy. Sorry, we'll go to the workflow here, and then we'll see is it still running. Yeah, it is still running. So we will wait. As you can see, it's still running. It's in the running state. And by the way, if you want, you can always fire it manually as well. So if you want to fire it like this, you can, you have the option to fire it manually as well. But if you want to have everything on a workflow, which I was doing in a second, you could essentially do that as well. So now, you know what, let's head over to Athena at this point. Hopefully it should be done in a couple of minutes. I know that. So it's gonna, I'll have those new tables being added. So this was one from my previous tutorial. So I'll close all these up. Let me close that. That's from my quick site tutorial. Okay, closing, close that. Let me refresh the database. And as you can see, I do not have a table here. Once my workflow is complete, I should see a table here is the goal. Okay, so moving back here to my workflow, and now it's completed, right? Status is complete. Come to my Athena here, and here you can see compressed folder, right? So now preview, and sure enough, I have all my data. This is fake data, so don't worry. These address and phone numbers are fake. Okay, I use a faker tool to do that, right? So but yeah guys, so you see how easily you could create workflows, right? You could add as many jobs as you want. So for example, after this crawler, let's say you wanna do an aggregation and you want to dump to another S3, or you want to put to Redshift, or you want to put to any other database. You could create very, very complex workflow. Remember, in your PySpark job, you can also use Boto3, fire Lambdas, fire. I mean, the possibilities are endless, right? So I just showed you how I hooked up to EventBridge as well. So now it's gonna run my custom pipeline on a schedule, right? So I could do that. So let me delete that because I don't want to get charged. But yeah, guys, this is essentially about Glue workflow. Very interesting, right? You could schedule it. It's an on-demand. You could also schedule via EventBridge. That makes it easy. They have some example nice here. They show some nice example that you can implement that. So, but I just wanted to walk you over that. What we did is in my company as well. We had several crawlers, right? Every crawler crawls over the data store, right? And then we essentially have Spark jobs that takes the data, it compresses into Parquet and into Snappy compression, of course. And then essentially it runs the Glue crawler after that. Because we have the raw landing, raw data in the landing zone. Then we run all this, then we have an entire workflow which essentially runs every month. So essentially it runs the PySpark, it compresses the data, the new data that has been arrived on the data lake, compresses that, puts on the transform folder, then runs the crawler on that so that the business can query the query on the compressed file essentially, because we can save money, right? So I hope you have enjoyed this small tutorial on AWS Glue workflow. If you did enjoy, let me know that in the comment section below. With that being said, guys, keep smiling, keep programming, keep learning, and I would see you guys in the upcoming next video.